Night of the Twisters, released February 11th, 1996, starring Devon Sawa, premiered on the Family Channel, which became Fox Family and is now known as Freeform. Twisters comes out next week, the long-awaited sequel to Twister from 1996, which came out 3 months after this movie. Welcome back to the Ecto-Violence channel. My name is Alec. This movie is based on a book that came out in 1984, I believe, based on sort of true events that happened in 1980. And this week I just wanted to talk about a bunch of tornado films, especially ones from the 90s. There were 3 tornado movies that came out in 1996. Night of the Twisters, Twister, and Tornado starring Bruce Campbell and Ernie Hudson. Let's go ahead and pop this tape in. So if you aren't very familiar with this movie, it's because it's a TV movie. So when you throw the tape in, you see the Good Times logo, no trailers of course, gets right into the movie. If you haven't seen this movie before and you're not sort of nostalgic for these type of movies, you probably won't have the same enjoyment of this movie that I do. You'll probably think it's bad, it's dated, and the effects are terrible. However, I do have plenty of positives to talk about when it comes to Night of the Twisters on VHS. First up, the cast and crew. Again, we talked about Devon Sawa being the star of this movie. I love Devon Sawa anyway. More recently, I loved him in the Chucky series, Final Destination, SLC Punk, Casper, Night of the Twisters, Idle Hands. The guy is a legend in film for me. Also, I do find it interesting that his mother is played by Lori Hallier, who played Sarah in the original My Bloody Valentine. I think for a TV movie, this is very well shot. Again, we'll get into some of the effects later, but some of the effects look quite well. I thought the tornadoes near the beginning of the movie, they blended well with the picture for a TV movie of 1996. Come on, what do you expect? And really, let's be honest, 1995, because this came out in February. I grew up in Kansas, okay, so this takes place in Nebraska. The dad in this movie used to play, I assume, for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. He has a mug for that team on his desk and talks about how he used to be a football player in college. My dad was a huge Huskers fan growing up in the 90s. Tornadoes in general were relatable. I never quite experienced one like they do in this movie or anything, but we did read Night of the Twisters in school, like it was part of the curriculum, and then we watched the movie. That's how I became familiar with it. Devon Sawa's performance is as good as any teenager's performance can be in a movie, especially a movie like this. It's a pretty simple, straightforward disaster flick. It's also based on a young adult novel, so you have to consider that when you're watching this too. I do like how there's this whole conversation about, what if you could know in advance about something like this and change it?
Yeah, like you knew in advance that you were gonna fall off your bike and completely break your face or something. Would you want to know? No, I don't think so. I mean, just because you know something's gonna happen doesn't mean you can prevent it from happening, you know?
Fucking plane can explode! Shut up, Brownie. You're so not funny.
Okay, I see you. What movie am I watching here? Come on now. What movie is this, Devon Sawa? You tell me. One of the more emotional scenes for me is definitely when the grandma's in the back seat and she's bleeding out and she's kind of freaking out.
Hang in there, Grandma.
Scare the shit out of me, Larry. I'm gonna die, I know.
Sorry, I had to give you the same mental image that I had when I was watching this movie. Again, overall, I think it's executed really well for a TV movie. But now, we're going to get into the negatives of this movie. I mentioned the TV effects were in the positives. I'm also going to mention them in the negatives. I even have a couple bad shots I'm going to show you from the movie. Obviously, I think there's some budget constraints that led to some of the issues with the special effects in this movie. Like Laura getting hit with the trash can lid. For some reason, a shot of the toilet during a tornado. The tornado from the baby's room looks just terrible. I mean, look at that thing. Come on, what is this? So at one point, Dan and his friend Arthur are playing congos or bongos. I don't know what he's playing there. And Dan's playing the harmonica. Just out of frame, there is a bong, clearly. And sure enough, later on in the movie, he's playing that harmonica again. And I just want to shut the movie off desperately. And I think the worst thing about this movie is that they spend all this time saving the grandma. You know, she's injured and it's depressing. Only for her to die a year later in the epilogue.
When spring came, Grandma Belle Zephyr arrived. Took us all by surprise. And we miss her.
Like, what? There was a lot changed from the book to the movie, and I don't honestly remember how the book ends. But I feel like they wouldn't have done that if it wasn't in the book, that specific thing, because otherwise, what the hell are you doing? All in all, Night of the Twisters is a solid TV nostalgia mid-90s movie, and it stars Devon Sawa. If you grew up in the Midwest, in Tornado Alley, you might like this movie a bit more than other people. It might be more relatable. That's how it is for me. Obviously, it's very flawed. Some of the special effects are like, oh, okay, that's 1995, yeah, 1996, that works. Some of them are like, oh, maybe take another crack at that. And before I give my rating, why don't you go ahead and jump in the comments down below and tell me if you've seen this one, and if you haven't, I'm pretty sure it's up on YouTube for free, so just search that movie up in the search bar and you can watch it. I'm going to give Night of the Twisters, all in all, 3 out of 5 hearts. And those 3 hearts are mostly earned through nostalgia, just the fact that it's a relatable Twister movie. Again, it stars Devon Sawa. I can't give it lower than a 3 just because of that. That right there is 3 stars, baby. If you like this video, be sure to check out this one and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.